Hi everyone, thank you for joining us for this year's virtual production of A Christmas Carol. I really hope you enjoyed the show. A little bit different than our past years, but we are so glad that we were able to enjoy it and tune in just the same. Now we are in for a special treat because I am actually here with this year's Ebenezer Scrooge, Jeff White. He is no stranger to the stage. He's been in productions all around town. He's been involved in fantasy for many, many years. So we'll just jump back right in. What brought you to fantasy? Do you remember how you got involved in fantasy?
Yes, actually I do. It's unfortunately it's not a super interesting story, but it's a Huntsville classic in that I just moved back to town. I didn't know a ton of people. I had some friends and family who were involved in fantasy theater, and so it was something that I wanted to do and wanted to get back involved in community theater in general and performance. But I hadn't gotten around to doing it, and I found out that they needed guys.
Always.
Grown men to be specific, and so I tried out for A Christmas Carol. And they cast me as the toy vendor. And I literally had a big giant cart, and we still use it in some of the productions. But it's big, and I had toys on it, and I would roll it out. I think I rolled it out for 4 scenes. And I would roll it around the stage, and I would wave, and I would react, and then Scrooge would talk to me, and I would give him a toy, and then I would exit. And that was pretty much it.
So I don't think I realized that A Christmas Carol was your first fantasy production. You've been in a lot of others as well, but you've been in A Christmas Carol several times. So you've been, as you said, a toy vendor, you've been Scrooge a few times, you've been Christmas present?
Yes.
Am I missing any? What else have you?
Yes, I was Alibaba.
Oh, that's right.
That's the named characters, I guess. And then I think I was in one other where I didn't have a name. So, toy vendor technically.
Well, toy vendor, you know. A Christmas Carol. This was our 31st season of doing it. 31st year doing this. It's been around. It's a Huntsville favorite. It's a holiday tradition. What do you think the draw is for A Christmas Carol?
Well, that's such an interesting question. It's complex because the draw is obviously the redemption story of Scrooge. I mean, you can't go through the holidays without having that warm heart. There's Scrooge, there's Grinch. All of these stories are people becoming better, and that's what we want to do. We want to be better people. And Christmas is a great time to do that, and the story of Scrooge it's the archetype. I mean, it is the fictional redemption story. I mean, it's so wonderful. I love being a part of it, and I love playing Scrooge, but I like just being on stage during this production and watching the character of Scrooge have that moment where, they transition from, humbug, back to work, Mr. Cratchit, to it's Christmas Day, I haven't missed it, it's wonderful. And that's my favorite part of the Christmas season.
Well, we've seen several different adaptations on our stage, obviously, and now we have this. You've been involved in several of the different adaptations we've done, and now you get to say you were a part of our virtual production.
Yes.
How was that going from a cast? Because normally this production for us is a huge family-oriented cast. We have several different generations that are in it. So we went from a cast of about 60 to 65 to 7. That must have been intense and strange and exciting and all the things. What was that like?
It was wonderful and sad at the same time. The biggest draw for me for Christmas Carol as a director and even as a performer is family. It's getting a whole family involved. It's casting the mom, the dad, the son, the daughter, the little kids. This is such an opportunity that fantasy has, or that we have as a community with fantasy, is to perform as a family. And you can have a 7-year-old as an urchin, a 10-year-old as a Martha Cratchit or a Belinda probably. To mom could be Mrs. Cratchit, or a Carol, or a dad could be, toy vendor or background character, or they could help backstage. And that's just such an incredible experience. So we took all of that, and we couldn't do any of that because of the pandemic this year, and so we did it virtually. So having 7 people was a big change, but luckily for us, we had extremely talented people. anytime that I can go on stage and be with 6 other people who are just as talented and honestly more talented than I am, it is wonderful. So that part of the experience was incredible. Steven Tyler Davis and Willem Butler, who did the editing and the directing of the show, just gave us such wonderful direction and pushed us in ways that we weren't expecting. And then to see the other cast members just be so good, it just made you want to be good too. So.
Understand. So I know you talk about memories. I know my family was very involved, and there aren't many things where you can get the whole family involved. I mean, if your kid plays a sport, you can go and watch and things like that. But my family, we had people behind the stage, making the sets, and we had us on stage. So, do you have a favorite memory, a Christmas Carol memory? I know it's hard for me to choose one, but
I don't have a singular favorite memory. There's 2 quick stories that I equate to Christmas Carol more than anything. One is very personal. It was the first time I was on stage as a toy vendor. I had really wanted to say something to Scrooge when I was on stage, when he buys the toy. And so I went to the director, and this was probably halfway through the performances, and I said, "Is it okay if I respond to Scrooge?" And she said, "Yes, what do you have in mind?" And I said, "I would like to say, 'You're welcome, Mr. Scrooge.'" And that was my big line. And yes, it was wonderful. And so they allowed me to do that, and so I was on cloud 9 for the rest of the performances. But for me, working in Christmas Carol is seeing that moment. That's the most important part. That's the part that I remember the most, is working with young people or young at heart. And it's about 2 weeks before the performance. We're in rehearsals. We're at Fantasy Playhouse. We're working real hard, going through things, laughing, having fun. And then you'll see a performance that just elevates. And it's that moment, that spark that happens. And, when you're watching a 9 or 10-year-old get it, that is, whether they get the moment of Christmas spirit or they understand how their character should be performing, that's what keeps me coming back. Every year that I can do Christmas Carol, I will do Christmas Carol because of that moment. Because we never stop running out of young people. And that's a gift that we give to the community, but it's a gift we give to those other actors. It's just watching that spark. And you could be 45 and at your first show, and that moment when you get it, and that, I love it. That's a Christmas Carol.
Yeah, that perfectly sums it up. And that's the best part about theater, is that it's not just, like you said, for one age. It can be, we offer classes from 3 and up, and anybody can be involved. We will put you to work, won't we?
That's true. Well,
have some fun.
That's how I met you and your family.
That's
how I met
exactly
my wife.
Yep. That's exactly right. So a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people just think that we're productions, but we've been around, this is our 60th season. We've been around quite a while, and we also have a lot of other offerings from our education side of things, academy. What, in your opinion, I obviously have my own opinion because I'm a longtime fantasy kid as well, but what, in your opinion, what has made us successful? Like, what has kept us around and going for 60 years?
I think that's a pretty easy question. It sounds like it would be difficult, but it's really not. I think it is the quality of our theatrical performances and the quality of our community involvement. You have such a wonderful opportunity, like we were talking earlier, as a family to come out and do one activity. We used to drive our kids all over the place and drop people off, and then we'd have to be back here at 3 and then over there at 2. Well, you don't have to do that. You all go to Fantasy for one time, and you rehearse, or you build a set, or you work on costumes, or you're ready to work on makeup design or hair design, and everybody has a place. It's just wonderful. I think that and their love and push towards producing quality community theater is what makes it so good. It's a life that changes you forever, and it's an experience that's just wonderful.
It's true. And even if you're not going on into theater, if you don't want to be a professional, right? And that's what we love. So.
Yeah, at no point, and Huntsville's very lucky, we do have a lot of very talented people who do go on to very good careers, from Hamilton to, I know, right? That's the apex right now. He's from Huntsville, or he was. To people who do regional theater, we've got a gentleman now who's performing, he's a movie actor. He's the lead in a horror film, and it's absolutely horrifying. And he does a great job, but they're all fantasy kids, and this is where they came from. But you don't have to do that. The lessons you're going to learn at fantasy theater, whether in a class or in a production, is going to stick with you for the rest of your life. Can you imagine as an 8 or 9-year-old having to audition in front of 200 people? And you get up and you have to say a few lines and you have to sing a song. That's a skill that will apply to everything you do. I mean, unless you're a watchmaker and you're just going to sit in your back room, you have to deal with the public. And the theater teaches us how to do that.
I think that is especially why I am and who I am today. I think that leads us into our next, because some people probably don't know, but we just announced our new arts campus that's coming.
Yes.
Very exciting. We already own the land. We're in the process of raising the money to build this beautiful new home. Right now we have buildings and we are spread out all over the city. We have about 4 different buildings and we are tapped out in size. So we're very excited to increase our programming as well. So what do you think that is going to do for the Huntsville art community and the community in general?
I think as fantasy is going to lift our community once again, just like it always has. The theater community in Huntsville is large and it's diverse. And fantasy Playhouse has always been at the forefront of that, and I think they are again here too. Getting this building up, and like you said, consolidating everything to one location is going to be huge. And I believe there's going to be a performance space there, which is going to be amazing. It's just an opportunity that Huntsville needs. Maybe not right this second. I think they do. But in a few years, when this is finished, when we've finished collecting that money and getting those donations, by the way, please donate. It's going to be an opportunity that communities our size don't have, but we need.
Absolutely. Well, I love that, and we're very excited. There's so much going on. It's been a crazy year, so we are hoping to shine the spotlight, as our campaign is titled. Jeff, thank you so much. We really appreciate this. Let's end, and how would you tell people to get involved with fantasy? What's your recommendation?
So that's a great question. And people ask me this all the time. The best possible way to get involved in fantasy is to just come volunteer. Come audition. You know, you're not going to get in the first show you audition for sometimes. Most of the time. Unless you're a guy. And so come audition, but bring your whole family. You know, let little Johnny audition, let Susie audition, you audition, bring your wife in my case. And if that doesn't work out, but still volunteer. There's plenty of stuff to work on backstage. There's, you know, costumes, hair, makeup, set construction. Then there's moving in the set. There's running it, stage managing. It's amazing. For every one person on stage, there's generally 2 to 3 people that have helped them get there. And that's the best way to get involved, is just to volunteer. Now, everybody, I'm sure, wants to be on stage, and you can have that opportunity, but definitely come and work backstage. It really is amazing. When I got the opportunity to obviously be in Christmas Carol many times, but I also have directed it 4 or 5 times. Yeah. And that's the most fun part for me, is finding those people who are good at performing, but then also finding those people to really help out backstage. I remember we've got a young lady here in town, Jessica Alexander, and she's a great choreographer and dancer and fabulous performer and director in her own right. And she came to me one year. She wanted to choreograph Christmas Carol, and she had this great layout and all these ideas, and she walked in the door and I went, yes, 100%, I want you on our team. And she looked at her display and she goes, no, I really want to show this to you. But it was wonderful, and that has been a relationship with fantasy now for 10, 15 years, and probably will be for 10 or 15 years more.
Well, there's a reason we call everybody Fantasy Family.
Fantasy Family.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Well, we appreciate it, Jeff. We thank you so much. If you want to learn more about volunteering or donating, or about our new and upcoming projects or the new campus, please, by all means, check us out at www.fantasyplayhouse.org. Lots going on. You can help even if you can't donate money. Like Jeff said, you can volunteer. We always have something to do. Come join us, be a part of the fantasy family, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.